Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time a pro replay between Murder and Huck, played on Metalopolis, Huck spawning as the red Protoss in the 6 o'clock position, Murder spawning as the blue Terran in the 9 o'clock position. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two players in the Intel Extreme Masters Tournament, being played this weekend in New York. This is one of the early group matchups. So the results of this game will go towards deciding who's going to be in the finals, in the final tournament bracket. Both players opening up pretty standard. Murder not using an early barracks, which is not going to be possible in the next patch. Huck sends out an early scout after his pylon. Huck's a big fan of these economic builds, typically deciding to push out either 13 or 14 probes before he throws up his gateway. So it'll be interesting to see when he does choose to throw up that gateway. If I was an opposing player, I'd try to get some early pressure. It looks like Murder's about a third done his barracks here. Huck's throwing up the 14 gateway, so chose to use 2 chronos on the first 4 probes following the pylon. Murder's now sent out his scout as well. He's getting his gas up. Metalopolis, and especially these positions, Murder might be taking advantage of some drops into the back of Huck's base. Huck's going to put his second pylon to spot any sort of ground attack, and possibly to start building a pylon wall along this back wall so that he's aware of any drops as they're coming in. Murder pushing out his first Marine is going to prevent any more harassment and scouting by Huck. Both players opening up pretty standard here. Huck going for a cybernetic score. Already has his gas up. And I'll be interested to see what the second production building for both these players is going to be. Whether they open up with a second barracks or a factory. Looks like a second barracks going down now, so we might see some Marine Marauder play, some early pressure. Not quite sure what Huck will be doing, though the second assimilator this early makes me think that he may be throwing down a robotics, or perhaps even a starport for some void ray play. Murder's going to be going in here, trying to stay inside the space until he sees that second production building. Though Huck's Stalker's going to be able to take out this SCV as soon as it comes out. Though Murder is delaying the placement of that second production building while this Stalker's being built. Huck doesn't want to tip his hand. Murder now creating his factory. And here comes the Stalker. It's going to be able to take down this SCV, and we'll see how quickly Huck gets out this next building. Looks like he is choosing to go for a Stargate, so we are going to see some sort of Void Ray or perhaps Phoenix play. Murder has a small army of Marines and a Marauder, and looks like he's creating more. He's getting a reactor on his barracks, and he may be pushing out early on with maybe some Hellions and some Marine Marauder. He also has 2 gas up, so both players preparing for a late game here. Not going to be a lot of early pressure. No 4-gate push, no 4 racks early push. Looks like Murder is researching the concussive shells there, which are excellent against Protoss, especially if they're melee zealot unit. And Murder getting down the starport, possibly for medevacs to support his Marine Marauder army. Huck's first Void Ray is being created here, so we'll see if he's able to do some harass, take down some SCVs. If we look at the army value, Murder's got quite a bit of an advantage at this point, though it's still early. Huck does have this probe outside, so he's going to be able to see any move down from this army if Murder decides to move out. No player has the Xel'Naga watchtowers yet, and it looks like Murder is going to float over this factory So we aren't going to see any sort of Hellion or tank play here, and he's going to do some scouting. He is going to see this Stargate, so Huck's going to tip his hand a little bit, and he's going to be able to see that he has 2 Void Rays coming up here. Huck is going to be able to charge his Void Ray off of this factory though, so if he can keep this charge alive and get into Murder's base here, it would be a major advantage. Once you have that charge going, basically 2-shot Marines, and with these 2 Void Rays, might be able to take him down. He's doing a great job. He's keeping the charge alive on himself, so he's going to come in here with 2 fully charged Void Rays. This is great play by Huck, and a little bit of a mistake by Murder. He gave that factory away. He was able to see the Void Ray scouts. Huck keeping his charge alive on each other again. But yeah, just great micro by Huck there to keep that charge alive on the other Void Ray after he was able to get it on the factory. So we'll see what Huck decides to do here, whether he's going to go for some more Void Rays or if he's going to try to transition into a little bit of something else. It looks like he did get a robotics facility up and now getting a robotics bay. Huck also a fan of these relatively early observers. Wants to get as much information about his opponent as possible. Looks like Murder's decided to throw the starport down onto the reactor and push out 4 Vikings before the medevacs start coming out. So now he's supply capped himself as these 2 medevacs are coming out. Maybe Huck's little bit of harassment there threw Murder off, and a little bit supply capped there. So medevacs are coming out to support this Marine Marauder ball. Murder doing some patrolling with his Phoenix and with his Vikings, and these Vikings are going to take down that Void Ray. So Huck losing a Void Ray there, sort of unnecessarily. Both players expanding. And Murder's a little ahead on his expansion. If we look at the income tab, very even, though Murder does have the mule advantage, but Harvesters are 34 to 32. Huck doing all sorts of scouting here. Gonna throw down a proxy, so we might see some gateway play here. So he is throwing down another 2 gateways. So here's a drop by Murder. Murder's coming in with Marine Marauder, and Huck's able to come in. He does have 1 Colossus up. It's gonna be very powerful for these Marine Marauders, but he's got to keep it in the back, away from these Vikings. Vikings are now going to do double duty against those Void Rays and now the Colossus. So not too much of a waste there getting them out, even though Huck's not creating any more Void Rays. If we look at the units lost tab, both players pretty even, about 1,100 resources lost. Like to see Murder do a little bit of a transfer here. Looks like he did. Huck's done the same. Both players have very well saturated mains and expansions. Huck's a little less saturated. Still doing scouting with these probes, and now it looks like Murder's going to move out again. The small army of these Vikings. Huck again has his 2nd Colossus up. Looks like he's chronoing out this extended thermal lance, a very important upgrade. It's going to allow him to keep his Colossus in the back, away from these Vikings. Huck needs to use his, well, he doesn't have many Stalkers here. He needs to use his Stalkers to try to take down these Vikings to keep the Colossus safe. Going in here with his Zealots, who are all going to be very slowed by this concussive shell. First Colossus is about to go down. 2nd Colossus needs to get in the back, not chase down this army. Murder could do a better job here focusing down the Colossus, though he did lose 2 Vikings from the high ground Stalkers. So both players achieving sort of what they wanted to do. And now it's just the Marines Marauders and 1 Viking left. Looks like the 2nd Colossus was saved here, not taken down. It did leave the field of vision for a moment, so wasn't sure if it was taken down or not. But kind of a standoff there. Murder was able to take down one of the Colossus. Huck was able to take down a number of Vikings, but no real damage. Huck now throwing down another robotics facility and a forge. Murder in the way of production buildings has just the 4 barracks, or 3 barracks and 1 now being created, and the starport. So sort of going to go all in with this MMM ball. Probably should push out another Viking or 4 now that Huck has his 2nd Colossus back up and going. Looks like both players are going to meet in the middle here. Focus down that Viking very quickly. Murder needs to pull back here because the two Colossus are going to rip into this MMM ball. Needs to be pushing out more Vikings here. Let's see if he's got him going. He does not. Well, he has two Vikings actually finishing here. So he's going to be able to take on these Colossus once again. But now three Colossus. The Colossus are going to go up here. Huck does not have Blink yet, but he should be focusing on this Starport. If he can take out this reactor, it's going to limit the number of Vikings that Murder can push out against these Colossus. Now two Vikings against these three Colossus. The Vikings need to be focused down by the Stalkers. They're a little too far into the Stalkers now. The Colossus staying in the back. Huck needs to micro these Colossus and these Stalkers. Should be taking down these Vikings here. The Colossus are doing a great job versus the Marines Marauders. Again, both Vikings go down there. Good focus fire by Huck, and he should be coming in here and taking out more of these add-ons, putting pressure on Murder. Looks like he's going to be doing that. He's actually able to shoot from almost the low ground here. Once you get these extended thermal lances, the range goes to 9 on these Colossus. So he's going to be taking down both this barracks and the tech lab here. He's going to be attacking once again another two Vikings, and he's going to be able to... Murder's going to try to focus down both of these Colossus. All three of these Colossus go down. A huge loss for Huck there. Didn't want to lose back those three Colossus. He should have pulled back here, especially with Murder on the high ground. He couldn't have followed as quickly. He would have had to go down his ramp or done a bit of an elevator drop. Would have required a lot of micro, and Huck would not have lost those three Colossus. But he's been doing a lot of good harassment here, taking down the Marine Marauder count for Murder, as well as the Viking count. The two more Vikings coming out, so it's going to be up to 4. Let's see if Huck is creating any more Colossus. It looks like he's got 2 on the way. Huck has expanded to a third base here. So if we look at the income tab, Murder's now with 70 workers on 3 bases. Very oversaturated at both bases. He needs to prepare another command center. It looks like he's not doing that yet. And then Huck has 51 workers. Looks like we have a drop here in Huck's base. He's going to take down a number of pylons, and also focusing down these 3 Colossus. The Stalkers should be focusing down the Vikings, not the medevacs. Murder didn't escape with any Marines Marauders there. If we look at the army value, Huck's got a clear advantage, but a number of Vikings just popped out.